If you're planning a cruise in 2026, you need to watch this video right now because there are some major travel rule changes coming that could seriously affect your next trip. And in one case, there was breaking news that dropped on New Year's Eve that you absolutely need to know about today. I know change can be scary, but here's the thing. Some of these updates, especially the cruise related ones, you might actually like them. So stick with me because by the end of this video, you are going to be fully prepared and ahead of the travel game. But before we dive in, please hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any critical travel updates ever again, because that's what we do on this channel. And I've got something special for you at the end as well that's going to turn you into a real travel pro. Trust me, this information could save you thousands of dollars and a whole lot of stress and headaches. All right, let's start with air travel because I know a lot of you cruise travelers out there are flying to your departure ports. So this affects you too. You've probably heard about the Real ID, right? Well, the TSA has officially rolled this out. And if you're traveling domestically in the United States, you need to have Real ID compliant identification. This could be the official Real ID that you get from your DMV, or it could be a passport, a military ID, an enhanced driver's license, or even something like Nexus or Global Entry. But here's where it gets interesting. If you show up to the airport without any of these forms of identification, the TSA has announced that there's going to be a $45 fee. Yes, you heard that right. $45 just because you don't have the proper ID. The way this works is through something called the TSA Confirm ID process. And the $45 fee is valid for only 10 days of travel. You can do this online before you get to the airport, or you can do it at marked locations near the airport security checkpoints. But I'm going to warn you right now, if you choose to do it at the airport, expect delays of 10 to 30 minutes or possibly even more. And who wants that kind of stress when you're trying to catch a flight to get on your cruise, right? While we're on the topic of the Real ID, I need to clear up some confusion that I've been seeing lately online. The Real ID cannot be used for cruise travel. I know, it sounds backwards because it's for domestic travel, but cruises have different requirements. I've actually heard stories of people being denied boarding on their cruise because they didn't have the proper identification and documentation. So don't let that happen to you. Make sure you have your passport book if you're going on a cruise, especially if it's international. Speaking of passports, here's another reminder that I want to throw in. A digital passport card is not valid for international travel. It's great if you want to keep that on your phone as your digital ID for domestic purposes. But if you're flying internationally or going on an international cruise, you absolutely need your physical passport book. Do not rely on the digital version because it's not going to get you where you need to be. This brings me to another big change related to border security. On December 26, 2025, just not too long ago, the Department of Homeland Security announced a final rule to collect biometric data. And I'm talking about things like facial scans for visitors entering and exiting the United States. This isn't exactly an implementation date yet, but it's an announcement for biometric data to be used for flying, for land borders, and even for maritime operations like cruises. I'm sure many of you already noticed this because several U.S. airports and points of entry are already using biometric facial recognition technology, especially for non-citizens. This is just expanding that program even further. The conversation about biometric systems leads us perfectly into what's happening if you are planning a European cruise or any kind of trip to Europe. There are some new systems coming into play that you need to be aware of. The first one is called the EES, formerly known as the Entry-Exit System. This is replacing the traditional stamping of your passport with a biometric process for most non-EU travelers, and that includes Americans and Canadians. The rollout began in October of 2025, but is going to be fully implemented by April 2026, which is only a few months away. This affects non-EU passport holders who are visiting the Schengen area. If you're not familiar with the Schengen area, there are actually 29 Schengen countries. So if you're going on a river cruise leaving from Germany, France, or Austria, or maybe a Mediterranean cruise leaving from Italy, Greece, or Spain, or even a Norwegian cruise, and yes, Norway is not in the EU, but it's a Schengen country. This is absolutely going to affect you. You need to be prepared for this new biometric process when you arrive. Beyond the Schengen area, there's something super important if you're going to the United Kingdom. The UK has something called the ETA system, and this is not a visa, but it is a travel authorization program. So if you're cruising out of the UK, cruising to the UK, or even just flying through the UK, you need to have this authorization. Here's my advice. Go directly to the UK official government website to apply. Do not use any third-party websites because they might charge you extra fees. Right now, the price is about £16, and the UK ETA lasts for up to 2 years or until your passport expires, whichever comes first. It's a good idea to get this done as soon as you know you're traveling to the UK, whether by air or sea. On top of the UK ETA, we have the ETIAS, which stands for European Travel Information and Authorization System. This one has already been delayed for more than a year, but it is expected to come into effect by the latter part of 2026. Visitors from the US, Canada, and other non-EU countries are going to require this, and the cost is expected to be around €20. The reason they are implementing all of this is supposedly to increase security and to have shortened lines at the borders. We'll see about that, right? But as soon as I have more updates on the ETIAS, I'm going to let you know, because this is something you absolutely need to have before you travel to Europe. Let me know in the comment section if you're planning a European cruise in 2026, and if any of these new systems are going to affect your travel plans. I'd like to know too. I really want to hear from you because we're all navigating this together, right? Yeah, it affects every one of us. All right, let's continue. From international travel requirements, let's shift our focus to something that's going to hit you right in your bank account. Starting in late 2025, we saw two major cruise lines start to default to non-refundable deposits. The first one is Princess Cruise Lines. So if you go on their website or you book through your travel agent, the lowest price that you're going to see is for non-refundable deposit. In the past, it used to be a refundable deposit, but those days are gone. They're no longer here. Princess actually joins Royal Caribbean and Celebrity Cruises in doing this. So they're not the only ones. Virgin Voyages has also jumped on this bandwagon. They have a 3-tier pricing system, and their lowest base fare, the one that you're going to see when you go directly on their website, is actually a non-refundable fare. The reason cruise lines are doing this comes down to supply and demand. With a tight inventory of cruises and so many people holding cruises way far into the future as placeholders, and then possibly canceling as they get closer to their date of sailing, this actually frees up more cabins for other people to book. Obviously, this is not necessarily good news if you liked having the option of a refundable deposit. Unfortunately, this is becoming more in line with what airlines and resorts have been doing for years. If you want a deeper dive into critical travel changes taking place, then you will love my ebook titled 10 Massive Travel Changes That Could Absolutely Wreck Your Next Trip. These cruise and air travel changes are just a few of the 10 critical updates that every traveler needs to know before they travel. And right now, of course. The link will be in the description, so go grab it now. You'll be glad you did. Now, another area where there's been a lot of confusion is around medication rules for cruising. And I want to clear this up once and for all. A lot of people wonder, can I bring my medication on a cruise in a daily pill organizer or planner, or do I need to have it in the original prescription container? Well, recently Carnival's brand ambassador, John Heald, actually clarified that people are allowed to bring their medications in pill organizers. So yes, you can do that. However, and this is a big however, most cruise lines still say on their website that best practice is to bring your medication in the original prescription containers. Here's what I would recommend. You do what feels right for you. But understand why the cruise lines recommend keeping medications in their original containers. Royal Caribbean's website actually states that if you have a medical emergency on board the ship, then if security or medical personnel need to verify what the medication is, it's much easier for them to do so when it's in the original container with your name and the prescription information on it. That just makes sense, right? I would think so. But beyond just how you pack your medications, there are a few other best practices you should follow. First, you're going to make sure you have a list of all your prescription medications with you. If you ever need to get more of them while you're traveling, or if there's an emergency, having that list is absolutely critical. Second, you're going to bring extra medication. It's usually recommended to bring at least 3 extra days worth of medication. But honestly, I would say about a week's worth to be on the safe side. You never know if your trip back home is going to be delayed because of weather, mechanical issues, or something completely outside of anybody's control. It's always better to be safe than sorry. One more thing to keep in mind. If you're traveling internationally, always make sure that you check the rules of the particular country that you're visiting. There are some medications that might be absolutely fine where you live, but when you go to another country, they could be considered as controlled substances. And trust me, you do not want to deal with that kind of legal trouble while you're on vacation. All of these changes pale in comparison to what I think is the biggest news of this entire video. And it's something that I'm going to be watching very closely. If you're planning a Hawaiian cruise, or even if it's just on your bucket list, you need to hear this because there has been some major legal back and forth happening, and honestly, Hawaiian cruises are kind of in limbo right now over this issue. Here's what's been going on. Hawaii has implemented a tourist tax, and it's pretty significant. They want to apply this tax to cruise passengers, and the cruise lines have been fighting this tooth and nail. They've launched legal proceedings because they do not want this tax placed on cruise passengers at all. This is a big deal because this tax has the potential to add $500 or more to the cost of a Hawaiian cruise. Can you imagine that? $500 extra just in taxes. That's insane. The situation took a wild turn in mid-December 2025 when the courts initially blocked the cruise line's legal challenge and said, no, this tax is going into effect for cruise passengers. But then on December 31st, to be exact, New Year's Eve, a federal appeals court issued an injunction that is blocking this tax for cruise passengers, at least for now. So right now it's on hold, but this is still an ongoing legal challenge and we really do not know what's going to happen. But I'm going to keep my eyes on it. Here's my advice. If you already have an Hawaiian cruise booked, leave a little bit of padded room in your budget, just in case this tax does end up going through. And for the rest of us who are thinking about booking a Hawaiian cruise, let's keep watching this situation very closely. I'm telling you, I have eyes on it. Please let me know in the comment section if you're interested in a Hawaiian cruise or if you already have one booked, because I want to keep you updated on this as it develops. So, those are the major travel rule changes coming to cruising in 2026. I know it's a lot to take in, but you're now informed and prepared, which is exactly where you want to be. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up for me and share it with your friends and your family who are planning cruises this year. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Make sure you turn it on so you never miss critical travel updates like this one. Before you go, I want to remind you about my ebook titled 10 Massive Travel Changes that could absolutely wreck your trip. Remember, these cruise and air travel changes are just a few of the 10 critical updates that every traveler needs to know about right now And all of that is in that ebook. The link will be in the description, and I'll also pin it in the comment section. Trust me, this ebook could literally save your next trip. So grab your copy while you're thinking about it. I've also created an entire video about how to pack your medications for a cruise and what you need to know about travel documentation. Go watch that video next so that you are fully prepared. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these travel rule changes affects you the most. Are you planning a European cruise, a Hawaiian cruise, or are you just worried about the real ID situation? I read every single comment, and I would love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels. And remember, the best time to prepare for these changes was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Don't forget to check out that ebook in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.